brought forth an omnibus bill, had it passed, and in that bill, abortion was still illegal, but it could be done if 3 conditions were met. Those 3 conditions were that it was to be done in an accredited hospital, that it had to be approved by a therapeutic abortion committee, and this committee would be made up of 3 doctors, none of whom could benefit from the abortion. And the third one was for the life and health of the mother. Now, all through the 70s, Morgentaler flouted the law. In Quebec, he was charged, it was overturned, he was charged. Finally, in the 80s, a significant event occurred. The Trudeau government brought the Constitution home. And along with bringing that Constitution home, we have the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Now, the problem is that the courts use the Charter of Rights and Freedoms to strike down all pro-life initiatives. That was 1982. In 1983, Morgentaler opened his first clinic in Toronto. His clinic was not an accredited hospital. He did not submit to a therapeutic abortion committee, and he never asked why they were having an abortion, whether it was for the life or health of the mother. The 3 restrictions he flaunted, and he did it publicly. By 1988, his case came before the Supreme Court. On January 28th, the Supreme Court ruled that the abortion law must be struck down because it restricted women's right to life, liberty, and security of person. The Parliament was given a time limit in order to bring forth a new bill. Mulroney, the Conservative Prime Minister, brought forth a bill, C-41. It passed. It was a flawed bill, no question about it, but it passed Parliament. It did not pass the Senate, so it did not become law. We now are lawless in terms of abortion. There are 3 countries in the world that have no laws on abortion. Canada, Canada, North Korea, and China have no laws on abortion. The whole idea of flouting the law, getting the law changed, this whole scenario is exactly what they're using, what they did use, to get a law on euthanasia changed. They had patients who would take it to court that they wanted to be able to kill themselves. And this started in the 90s, but just recently, actually in June of this year, we now have a euthanasia law. There are restrictions. One of the restrictions is that you must be terminally ill. Another restriction is that there has to be 15 clear days from the time that you request doctor-assisted suicide until they actually implement it. And it has to be done by a doctor or nurse practitioner. Now, already, before the ink was dried on that law, the euthanasia lobbyists were setting forth challenges, legal challenges to this. You don't have to be terminally ill. That's not fair. If I want to be doctor-assisted suicide, I should have it. Now, the courts haven't dealt with this yet, but you can bet they will. Another thing that we're dealing with on a large basis is the RU-486, the abortion pill. It has a strange name, which I cannot properly pronounce, misophiginizol or something. Anyway, Health Canada approved this last year, July in 2015, actually, yes. And there were restrictions. It has to be administered by a doctor. It has to be prescription. The doctor has to go online and take, I think it's a 6-hour course, in order to be able to administer this 2-pill regimen. Already, the pharmaceutical company that has brought this into Canada has asked for those restrictions to be lifted. They say it's not fair, it limits this regimen for women in far locales that are away from big cities, and women should be able to be trusted. They don't need the doctor to dispense it. They weren't even, the law says right now, or the